Good evening, Vampire Faithful, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Bayou, Manapot Studios' latest Vampire the Masquerade flight of streams. We're so happy that you join us on this fine evening. My name is Mark. I have been and shall always be the storyteller for this stream. Very excited to be back into this after we took a little bit of a small hiatus last week due to extenuating circumstances. But really excited to get back into this this chronicle. And let's go ahead and meet all of our players. Let's go ahead and start with Ray.
Hi guys, I'm Ray. I'm playing Ellie Mae Taylor. She's a speakeasy owner. My pronouns are she, her. I also play in a Starfinder stream on I cannot speak tonight. Manapot Studios. Thank you. And we have a game this weekend, so come check us out.
Yes.
Hi, howdy. I'm Crifu Bernal, Chris in the real world. My pronouns are he, him, and I am a producer and streamer on Twitch here at Manapot Studios and at my own personal Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Crifu Bernal. And tonight I'm playing Jace Phillips, a gangrel cowboy who is literally in the middle of grappling with a feral vampire. So we'll see how that goes.
Indeed. And last but not least...
Hello everyone, my name is Helen. My pronouns is she, her, and tonight I'm going to play as Rebecca Asteri, a Tremere scholar from Europe that tries to live as a woman of academia in a year where this was not very usual. We're going to see what happens tonight.
Well, before we see where the rest of our stories are going to take us, Chris kind of hit the nail on the head here. We are currently dealing with a vampire who has completely lost themselves, given in to the beast. You see that, and you all had a chance to sneak up on them, pounced on this vampire. Within the little limited light that you can see, you can make out that it is the body of what appears to be a woman. And with the little light that you are given, you can see in the dark, if I'm not mistaken, though, right, Jace? That's correct.
I do have my red eyes on.
Okay, yeah. So you can tell that she is a young woman of Hispanic descent. And she is not happy. We went ahead and figured out an initiative order for this encounter before the stream, so I think we should go ahead and get started with our first combat. So the encounter, while Jace and this young woman might be entangled right now, the initiative actually goes to Ellie Mae. What is it that you want to do?
Ellie Mae has her purse in her hand, so if I can do this with melee, I want to swing my purse at the woman to try to get her away from Jace.
You want to okay, so you want to kind of use it as like a melee weapon?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make a strength and melee then. With that, try to whack this thing.
Sorry, I'm trying to see how to turn down the music.
Oh, sorry, I can turn it down myself. Might be a little loud.
Okay, sorry, you said strength and...
Melee.
Strength. Oh gosh. I'm not a fighter, y'all. Oh gosh, I'm really not a fighter. Both under 6. Well, I got a 1. Is that a 1 or a 10?
If it's
that's
a 0,
1.
that's
it's
a 10.
1. It's a 1.
How many successes? No successes. And 1 1.
Yeah.
But just 1 1, not 2 1s?
Correct.
Okay, I was about to say, that's a beast. That might have been a bestial failure. Okay. Yeah, so they have 3 successes. So they pretty much like they see you coming and are able to like just move their head at the last second. I think with that, like it's enough force with how much strength they rolled. It's enough force for you and her to kind of reposition yourself a little bit, Jace. With her, like like with you being on top of her, now you guys are both side by side with her back facing all of you now.
Okay.
It is now her turn, and she is given fully into the beast, so to speak. She is going to try to reach out and try to take a bite out of Jace.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with strength and with brawl, and let's see here.
Do I roll to avoid it?
Oh, sorry.
Stamina?
Yes. You can roll to avoid. I think with this one, what are you trying? How are you going to? She's coming in straight to go in for your for your neck. So I'm thinking Dex and Brawl to try to get away, since you're kind of
Okay, sure. That works.
throws of the ground there. Oh, it's not looking good for her. 2 successes. That's a lot of dice.
2 successes.
Is that meets beats then?
I hope so.
All right. So yeah. So you're she is able to share her teeth kind of nick you on your collarbone, but she's not able to sink her teeth in deep enough to do any kind of damage or to take any kind of blood.
Okay.
And with that, she's still forcefully trying to she's still trying to force her way to get on top of you, but you're able to kind of hold in that position to where you guys are still kind of both on the ground with your backs facing the rest of the group. Rebecca, it is you've seen this develop. What do you do?
Being in the given clan, Rebecca tries to act more calmly. She takes off her ceremonial knife. She slices her hand, and I'm going to use blood sorcery in order to do scorpion stats. Practically what I'm doing is creating a poisonous blade. I'm going to roll strength and blood sorcery, and it is a contested roll, so you roll stamina occult or stamina fortitude, whatever is higher.
Sorry, stamina and what else?
If I succeed, stamina and occult or stamina and fortitude.
Okay. I'm gonna have to do stamina and fortitude with this. This is quite big. That's 7 successes.
So practically doesn't hit. I'm also doing a rouse check, and my hunger increases.
Oh, nice.
Because I used the blood.
Got you.
So don't forget, you could always spend willpower to re-roll 3 non-hunger dice. But 7 successes. Okay.
7 successes kind of
work
ridiculous.
Here.
Yeah, so she kind of is able to just shrug everything off. This is it's just not affecting her so much. She's still concentrating on you, Jace, and it is now your turn. What do you do?
I'm gonna try and tumble her over so that I'm on top. And my hands I have my feral claws out.
Okay.
And so I want to just take them and shove them into her torso and claw her up.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you're trying to be a little bit more forceful. Let me have you roll with strength and brawl.
Okay.
And she's gonna try to avoid with Dex and brawl. This is a very. Oh no! It's 1 success.
I have 4.
Okay. Ooh. So So I think that's going to do 3 superficial damage, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Plus 2 to my damage because of the claws. 5 superficial damage.
5 superficial damage. Okay, so yeah, you're able to get on top of her, and where are you digging the claws directly into again? Like on what part of the body?
Up into her rib cage and her torso.
God,
but don't forget, vampires have superficial damage that they take.
Oh, they have it. Okay, yeah. So it's gonna
I forgot to do that when I got shot by that bullet.
Gotcha. So that'll be more so like about 2 superficial damage.
Yeah.
So you can that one definitely connects. But you can see that this is just more so like the eye, like her eyes kind of instead of looking like panicky and in pain, they look more so like a beast that like is cornered, so to speak, and is looking to lash back out.
And I shout out like, watch out, y'all. This beast doesn't look like she's gonna go down easy.
Ellie Mae, like, so now, like, you see that Jace is now, like, essentially, like, straddling this, like, this vampire with his claws, like, just kind of, like, in the ribcage. What do you do?
I'm not good at anything physical. Like, is she, like, flailing her arms around?
Yeah, like, she's just, like, trying to, like, claw at Jace, but you can tell that they're just clawing with like empty hands. Like their hands don't have the same kind of claws that Jace's do. Okay. But there's like this weird like strength as like, you know, that you can just sense like irradiating off of her.
What would I need to roll to try to like grab her hands and hold them together?
Let me have you roll. Let me see here. Let me have you roll with strength. Let's do strength and brawl because you're actually gonna try to hold her down.
If I have nothing in brawl, then just roll strength.
Yeah, you can give it a shot. I mean, you never know.
You can also do a blood surge, rouse the blood to add a die to one of your attributes.
Get hungry. Get hungrier.
8.
Some of that blood has been spilt from those claws that Jace is. Some of her blood's been spilt.
I rolled. It's an 8.
1 success?
Yes.
Okay. 1. Oh, is this enough dice? There we go. 1 success. So you are. Good. Yeah, you're like she is now like She's now like holding her hands together, like kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe like I have her by the wrist holding her.
Yeah. If you like Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh God! When you make that face.
Well, it is now her turn. And she's gonna try to break free of this. So she's gonna roll with strength and brawl again. Let me have you, if you want to continue holding, let me have you roll again, strength and brawl. All right, there we go. That's 4 successes. So I'm guessing that's definitely gonna be okay. So yeah, she's just able to break free. She breaks free and then tries to very, very she tries without much success to try to break free of Jace, because Jace, you're still on top of her, and so she's gonna try to kind of worm her way out of it. If you'd like to hold, let me have you contest with a strength and brawl as well as she tries to dex. And she's gonna try to death and I don't know, would it be athletics or would it be brawl to try to squirm out of there? Thinking.
Don't work some ab muscles.
Yeah, right.
4 successes.
Let's go with athletics. Oh no! That's 3 successes.
All right.
Yeah, so she's down. She's down for the count. So yeah, Rebecca, you see that this vampire, this woman is very much just trying her damnedest to break out of there, but while she was able to shake off Rose's attempt to shackle her, so to speak, Jace is able to hold her in position. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to go with the exact same move as I did before.
Perfect.
So you roll again stamina and occult or stamina and fortitude.
Okay. This fortitude is nuts.
Come on.
Oh, I am not
5
rolling
successes?
very well anymore. That's 2 successes.
So what I basically do is I stab the person with the knife that is covered in my blood, and the person is paralyzed for 3 turns, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
because of the difference of the successes.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is not completely capacitated, but technically paralyzed.
Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and take us out of combat for now, so to speak. Because we have our initiative ratings. If we need to restart, we can. But with this, is she still able to, like, talk? Or... You said it was not fully paralyzed.
The book doesn't say clearly, to be
Okay.
honest.
We'll take some
you wanna
liberties.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you want to roll and see if she can?
Yeah, so you see, like, this woman just, like, have this weird look of just... At this point, like, her eyes just kind of get really big, but it's almost as if, like, the air is tensing up around her body and just, like, holding her, like, perfectly still. And she's, like, you can tell that, like, there's effort in her eyes of her trying to move, but she just can't.
Now it's time to take action. So, what do we do with that?
I don't know if Jace would stop clawing right away.
Okay. I mean, she's in no position to, like, defend herself, so...
Right, I don't know if it's, like, completely occurred to him that she's, been kind of decommissioned, paralyzed.
Has
So
Jace
I
ever
think he
seen
just-
Tremere, like, blood sorcery?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so, yeah, she just looks like she just kind of looks, like, stunned or something, or, like, you don't know what that was in that knife.
She was stabbed. So I think he just goes ahead and just, he's, like, sitting on top of her, and he takes his claws and just rakes them across her chest.
Yeah, as you see, like, what little, like, tatters of, like, clothes remain are just now, like, eviscerated beneath your claws, and, like, you can, like, they're starting to dig deep within the flesh now, and you can see that, like, if she was able to move, like, you could tell that there would be, like, growls and, like, howls of pain underneath there, but you still see that same look upon her face.
Jace, you can stop. I don't think the young woman's going to attack you back.
And he, like, snaps his neck in your direction and, like, growls, and you can see his fangs and his eyes glowing red in the darkness, and he's like, huh? What happened to her? Why can't she move?
Well, just a trick that is going to keep her quiet for a few more minutes. So take the advantage, please, and tie her maybe. Anyone has a rope or something?
It's on my horse.
I'm trying to think if belts are in fashion.
Would it be possible that I, like, have a rope hanging from my waist? I am a cowboy.
Maybe for horse purposes.
Go for it.
Horse purposes, exactly.
Well, I would do something here. If the answer was no, I would do something very provocative here.
So make some rope. I mean, just rip out her intestines. You can just use those for rope.
No suggestions.
What?
I would literally take off my stockings.
That works.
I just pulled a D&D move and just rolled. Yeah, you got rope. It's fine. Yeah, you're a cowboy.
Okay, all right.
You got a horse. You're fine.
Rope, rat, and I'll like reach for my lasso and just start tying her up. I didn't even think about a lasso. That makes a lot of sense.
And now is she hogtied or is she?
Yeah, she's hogtied.
Oh gosh.
And how long does this paralysis last for, Rebecca?
I believe three rounds, so technically she's going to be okay by now.
Okay, yeah. So by the time you guys are able to, you can tell that like with her being paralyzed, like you're trying to hog tie her up. Like even though she's not able to move, you can sense like the bones themselves are trying to resist. Or that there is it's almost like some otherworldly like effect. Like you can't feel her like resisting, but you have this sense like, oh god, whatever's holding her is not going to hold her for much longer as you're able to hog tie her. And
I'm already preparing my knife for a third round in case I need to.
Well, like by this point, she like you guys have like hog tied her, and I'm assuming you've taken like a step back or two, and almost as if it was like someone hit play on a movie or something, she just springs back to life with like animated action, just.
Now, calm down. Obviously, you're not going anywhere at this point, so you might as well just calm down.
Your blood.
How do we get her to stop? It's like she's gone mad.
Give me your blood.
I don't think I've ever seen this before.
Oh my. We don't have permission to do that. It would be entertaining, though.
Do what? What, blood bind her?
Yep. I mean, it is not technically illegal. It is not forbidden by the traditions. You are forbidden to create ghouls or children, but it is definitely going to calm her down, and then she's going to like us.
Well, what if we gave her something else? I'm sure there's some critters running around here.
Nah.
What's the point in that?
Rebecca's right. If one of us does it, then she'll at least lack the person who does it a little bit more. With our blood in her veins.
I need you to do something for me, if you could. Be ready to take her down if she tries to drink too much.
I'm ready. And he kind of like crouches down.
Oh my.
So what I do is I bite my own hand and then shove it up your mouth, but only like in the edge in order to drink, but not be able to pull it off. And this is a blood point for me.
As soon as you bite into your hands and there's like the slightest trickling of blood, she stops paying attention to Jace and is very much like does everything in her hogtied power to get as close to you as possible. And as you go to give her your hand, it's like she like, you know, it's like, you know, if like you bit like that small little bit, you would expect her to like get at that little nibble, but she goes and like tries to put her whole like mouth over your like that whole section of your hand and just like sinks her teeth in deep.
Well, this is certainly a pleasure for both of us. Okay, you can stop now.
And she doesn't stop.
Obviously. I guess this is going to be a strength check for both of us.
Okay. She's gonna just roll with her strength. Good God, no successes. All right.
Good one.
All right, well, that's enough to beat my 0, so.
So I really just put my other hand on her neck and take off my hand.
a little bit of of skin comes with it. But yeah, you're able to break free, no problem.
Oh my. It's been a while.
Well, she doesn't have hands.
Now,
I reach
dear, tell us who you are.
¿Qué estás? ¿Qué?
Oh, it's been a while. ¿Cómo se llama?
Como Hortensia. Me llamo Hortensia.
Okay, so her name's Hortensia.
Yeah, we got that far.
I should have learned a little more.
What is? Where am I? What do I have? Oh my, I'm not decent. No. She goes to cover up and she goes to cover up and notices that what little clothing she has is just in tatters. But then when she looks down, she's horrified to see the wounds that have been inflicted deep in her chest. How Jace continue going in there, the puncture wounds underneath her ribs, and she just lets out a blood curdling scream.
Just calm down. You're going to be all right. I promise you. That's going to heal.
Dios mío. Oh. Why are my hands tied?
Well, ma'am, you were kind of attacking us, and we needed to calm you down.
I don't. Why was I attacking you? Why was I attacking you?
Oh.
Deja vu.
What day is it?
Night.
It's just you guys are still on the first day, I think.
Yeah, we're the first night, but I don't remember what
Thursday. It's a Thursday night.
Oh, it's a Thursday. Okay.
Right.
But I don't remember the date that we had said.
It's we're at the end of May, I think. End of May, beginning of June.
Okay.
Do you remember anything? What's the last thing you can recall?
I remember.
Were you attacked?
I remember going to the late service on Saturday night for the church. They give the Spanish service at the church on Saturday nights, and the next thing I know, I'm here.
The church.
Were you with anyone?
I'm your abuela.
I kind of look around just a little bit to see if there's if there's a body in the vicinity.
She was chomping on something when you guys approached her.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to go check it out? I'm holding on to the rope.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out.
Okay, can I have you roll a?
I stay here to keep her down in case she Francis again.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Let me have you roll.
Stay here with me.
I shall.
So, you're gonna try to go look at the body. Is that what you're looking at, Eleanor? Okay. Let me have you roll with wits, and I'll have you roll with either investigation or awareness, just to kind of.
Investigation or
awareness.
Wits plus investigation or awareness. Okay,
correct.
I'm gonna do awareness because I got more on that. And then need one to be the blood dice. Not that one because it hit the ground. Okay. 1, 2, 3 successes, and 2 of them are 10s.
Oh, nice.
Crit.
That's a crit. So yeah, you go notice that the when you look upon this body, if you could still eat food, your dinner would come up from the mere sight of what once was a human corpse is now nothing more than just a torso.
Okay.
With its arms and legs intact, but you can tell that it is very much like it's missing from the from part of its shoulders upwards, and from its knee down as well. But the arms are still fully intact. The little bit of clothing that is still on here is more so less clothing and more dress jewelry. And you can tell that it the nails are more of a feminine nature, and it is a much older body.
Okay, so I'm debating whether I should take the jewelry to show her or to let her just okay. And there's no clothing to salvage to cover her, correct?
Yeah, not at this point.
Okay. All right.
It's
I'm
Thursday. The last thing she remembers is Saturday.
Okay, I'm gonna, and then walk back to everyone. And then I'm going to give Jace and Rebecca a look and just be like,
dead human inside.
it was.
Oh, it gets too many of those. Someone is definitely creating a mess in this place.
Yeah.
Now, the state of it, though, wasn't a normal feeding, that's for sure.
All right, so we do have two neonates, two fledglings already. No Shire, in frenzy, in the city. Do you think that this may be the time to take them to the prince, or you want to make a shelter out of your store?
Is there a possibility for her to frenzy like that again, or?
Obviously.
I'm not too keen on bringing her back to the Midnight Rose if she's unstable.
Why didn't the other one do this?
Maybe he had time to eat. She's definitely close to a hunger frenzy all the time. And she was eating when we disturbed her.
So the last thing she remembers was Sunday.
Well, frenzy does take a while. It is not unusual. She could be running in the park for a few nights now.
Right.
Or she could be in a torpor for a while and then rise in frenzy again. Anyway, anyhow, maybe this is a situation for the prince because we still have things to investigate.
We do. At the very least, we can call him and ask his sheriff to come down and deliver judgment on this one.
Well, I do have a scenario. Mm-hmm. Someone may have created the first of our problems, and then some frenzy fledgling like this one may have started creating the rest.
Please, what are you saying? I have no idea what you're saying.
This is adults talking. Wait, your turn. So, Prince, Sheriff, someone, we can just take her with us. If she starts healing now, she's going to hunger frenzy again.
Right. And I can make an argument for Darius for keeping him alive.
We could ask help from the Bruja.
Oh, they'll probably want to take her out right away. Prince or no prince.
Well, they don't have the jurisdiction to do so. Killing another of the kind, traditions.
I think the best thing to do would be to pull the car in back here, load her into the trunk. That way we're not dragging a half-naked body through the park.
But what about what she was eating on? I don't think we can leave that there.
Pull it into the bayou, maybe?
That's probably the best.
Don't think it was like an alligator or something. Do we get alligators in Houston?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. Maybe back then.
I have questions.
Yeah, bet.
Yeah, probably in the 20s. I would say it's more likely to get an alligator in this time in Houston than any other.
All right. So, Rebecca, he hands you the rope that is holding Hortensia, since she's bloodbound to you now. Miss Ellie Mae, I'm sorry to ask you, but you're probably going to have to drag that. You're going to have to take care of the corpse. Well, I'll go get the car. Fetch the car.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right. And I think Jace starts kind of bends over, retracts his claws, and kind of starts half jogging
Dios mío.
through the woods.
What are you?
Here we go again.
What are
now,
you
ma'am,
people?
Ma'am, I have a question. At the service you went to, was there anyone there who usually doesn't attend?
Now that you mention it, yes, there was. With being a Spanish service, we have a pretty close community here in Houston. The outsiders usually stick out very easily. We are able to see newcomers, and there was an older man. He looked very sickly, very pale in the face.
Oh, good.
But he, although looked like he was like he needed to get sun, but he also looked very strong. It was very, very weird to see.
Features, characteristics, colors, dress code, whatever.
He was dressed like the one who just left. He was wearing a hat that seemed to cover most of his face, kind of tipped down. I didn't get a good look. He looked like he came to the Spanish service, and although his skin was a little bit pale, he did look like he was of Hispanic descent.
Was his hat black, brown?
I believe it was a black hat. Yes, I'm sure of it. He was wearing all black. Now that I remember.
And did he speak at this service?
No, he kept looking at my grandmother, and I went to go confront him after the sermon. And wait, where is my grandmother? What happened to her? Maybe this weirdo has her.
She might still be at the service. Don't worry about that right now.
Tell us about your grandmother.
My grandmother mi abuela is this very, very sweet old woman. She came here to Houston just a few years ago to be with my family. She's very, very old. She must be, in her 50s.
Name and address, Wezik.
Excuse me. What? Address?
Oh my.
¿Dónde está
Why do we even bother?
su casa?
Mi casa. And she tells you in Spanish it's it's an apartment in the city.
I think she said it was an apartment in the city. ¿Dónde?
Where?
Map. Where's the map? Map. Oh gosh. I'm going to Japanese. I keep wanting to say popo.
Seriously.
es norte, es sur.
She points north.
Norte.
I believe it is the Clark Street.
Clark's. Almost said so. Oh my God, Spanish. Where's Clark Street? Does anybody see Clark Street on that?
Clark Street is where we picked up Darius.
Ah. And so I'm going to turn to Rebecca and be like, isn't that where we were? Over by Clark Street?
Most likely. I think so.
So these are all at least starting near the same point. Oh, and I almost said Rose. She had the same Rose last time. So I'm getting agitated right now because I'm feeling a little bit guilty about her abuela laying over there, and also wondering if she can smell it.
She doesn't seem to be, like, more so than anything, she's still a little, like, perturbed about being tied up and, like, being interrogated. So, like that's mostly where her focus is on right now. Plus, I mean, like, she just drank from Rebecca, so she's sated for now.
So I get to the car. Yeah, I get to the car and I try and find a easy spot where I can like back it in through the grass and into the woods along the bayou towards the location.
Yeah, it's easy enough to get in there. It won't make you roll anything. It's a little muddy, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, please, you have to help me find my abuela. You need to tell me where my abuela is. I cannot go home without her. She's old and frail.
It's okay, ma'am. Don't worry about her. We'll look into it, okay? Just pray. Just pray.
Dios mío. She just like kind of resigns herself to like she just kind of resigns herself and kind of stays silent as she's like loaded into this car.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are putting her in the trunk?
Yeah, and I'm gonna take out like a handkerchief and say, I'm awfully sorry about this, ma'am, and gag her.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go take care of the body then while this is happening. And then is it heavy for me to drag or?
I mean, not with like you're not like you don't have a lot in strength, but like you are a vampire, so it's not that bad.
Okay, so I'm gonna just drag her towards the water.
It's just awkward because it's like it's almost like they're cut like long ways in half, like right down here. But then like, and again, like from their knees downward, they're missing. But like the arm are still intact. And it looks as though like they were just like ripped apart. Like,
is she wearing a rosary bead or anything? Like
you don't see anything like that. All you can see is just like she's wearing bracelets and rings. Those are the only pieces of jewelry that are left over here.
Okay, I think I'm gonna leave them on her.
Okay.
And then as I push her in the water, and I'm guessing, is she sinking in or the body gonna float?
I think the bodies sink, don't they? No, they
float, but since it's torn open and the gases are releasing, I'm not sure.
True. Yeah, we'll say that for like it starts sinking.
Okay.
For the ease of everything else.
I'm just say sorry, Mama, and then turn away and head back.
All right, so we bringing this one straight to the prince then?
Yes,
wiping my hand, trying to wipe my hands off.
Well, I don't feel like we got quite enough to report, but we can't keep collecting these castaways.
This is escalating too quickly.
Right.
Well, 2 down.
2 to go.
How many could they be?
If your hypothesis is correct, there could be half a dozen more that were made over the last few nights. If the one begets another, then we got an epidemic on our hands.
Well, but it would be safe to assume that there are not too many of them left. Because of the fact that no one seems to notice anything? I mean, there would be a huge issue and the prince would be on alert if there were too many of them.
Yeah, let's hope for the best, I guess. And he starts driving down towards downtown.
Yeah, you guys are pretty close to the to where the prince where the prince is located. Relatively close. It's not going to take you very long to get there.
So before we go there, what about the other guy we found? Are we going to mention him now that we're going to see the prince?
I guess we have to.
Right. I'm more than willing to make an argument that Darius has presented himself to be much more stable and willing to cooperate and learn, and that he's got a skill set. Hortensia, unfortunately, the fact that we found her gnawing on a body doesn't look good.
Good. I told you that I'm going to support you if you decide to protect him, and we'll see what we can do about it.
Cool. Does that sound all right to you, Miss Eleanor?
I mean, there's nothing else we can do at this point, but maybe he'll look on him favorably.
I hope so. And if we're willing to, sometimes sacrifices need to be made. I feel like my hands are just as tight as that poor lady's hands are back there.
As you say that,
oh God!
1 second.
How dare you?
As you say that, you can start to the car starts shaking.
No.
Oh, please don't make me do that again. Please. And at that moment, Rebecca would literally just scream, "Shut it!"
Is she like screaming or like growling or anything?
You can hear muffled.
There is a roll to try and disobey your blood bond's commands.
Like when you hear, she could faintly hear Rebecca yelling like "shut it," and like the car starts shaking at that, but you can definitely hear that there's like rumbling going on back there.
More calmly this time. If you stop it right now, I'm going to give you more.
It's like the car begins riding smoothly again.
All right.
That always works.
And in the presence of the person who's bloodbound you, like they have to make that test once per turn.
So yeah, like every second, essentially, of like role.
They're
play.
constantly fighting it. At the moment, it's only a bond of strength 1, so she only needs 1 success on a intelligence plus resolve, I think.
Yeah, but
this is only if you want to defy it. You may just want to surrender.
Right now, she just she wanted to break free, but with the promise of more blood.
Right. So yeah, well, how do we? He lives like near the courthouse. Is it like an apartment building? I don't know if there's like parking garages in the 1920s. There's not that many cars, so
no, you could
feel right to me.
You could probably so for this in particular, especially with all of the dealings of the Kindred Society and the Camarilla, there are specific instructions on how to enter into the establishment, but with it being like you're definitely entering in through the back, and it is going to be like the same building of the courthouse, but whereas most everything it takes place on that first floor, what people don't realize is that there is something beneath the courthouse. Texans don't ever think to look in a basement because we don't have them.
That's true. Now I'm just picturing the tunnels for when you go to jury duty there.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so like you're able to pull like there is like enough clearing behind the courthouse for like, you know, for cars to kind of like load and drop stuff off. People actually still like ride horses out there too, so there's like definitely like a wide open area for people to like, you know, tie their horses up and whatnot.
But yeah, when we get there, I'll pop open the trunk and just fireman carry, put her over my shoulder, and carry her inside.
There's like
Can someone get the door, please?
This look of like there's no tears, but you could tell that if like she would be crying if such a thing were possible.
Okay.
Should I roll something to see if there is a wooden stick around there?
If you'd like to, you can roll like a wits and awareness.
Okay. Four successes, but I have a critical on a hunger dice. I think it is a messy critical.
So you don't notice any like free anything like, you know, that would be easy to just to pick up and use, but like there's like the places where they tie up the horses. It looks like you could probably break off a piece of that easily enough.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to do anything like that.
Should I roll something?
And you know what? Just go ahead and just roll just for strength. See how clean it is.
2 criticals.
There you go. Pretty clean. You're able to just pop. Comes right
So I'm
off.
going to take like a wooden stick with me and keep it like hidden on my sleeve, and just in case.
Just in case.
I would like to like walk behind Jace, like because I'm guessing her head is behind you as you're carrying her. So I want to walk behind, and kind of low talk to her. Not that I'm trying to hide it from anybody, but just try to reassure her a little bit and just tell her, I'm so sorry about this, but if you just go calmly, it's going to make it a lot easier on you. Just please, just make it easy on yourself.
She just looks at you with
and
all sorts
remember
of
the blood.
I think more so she's like, she looks at you, Eleanor, with like all sorts of like confusion, but at the mention of blood, she seems to like perk up and somewhat like calm down just a bit. Excuse me. Yeah, so as you guys enter into the courthouse, it is like a very dreary like affair at night. It's easy enough to it's not really, it's locked, but you know how to get in well enough. Like, you know, getting into the prince's, I mean, if anything, Eleanor would know how to get in easy enough. There's a quick way. There's a certain way to like handle the lock. If you have have enough like strength in you, you're able to just like pop it open easily enough. And then there is like you have to make your way through essentially what is like a place where like they would like hold like water and supplies, and in there is like a closet that leads down into like a place below the courthouse.
Okay.
I'm assuming that water and supplies area is like what for disasters?
Yeah. I mean, it is water and like food, so it's not anything that would be like useful for any of you.
Okay, so we're going like under a hurricane shelter.
Something like that, yeah.
Cool.
And as you guys make your way down, the electric lights sort of give way to like more like what is it, like torches almost, and like lanterns that light the way down here. And it is very much, you can tell that these like caverns, I guess you would call them. Here, I'm gonna like the caverns down here are a little bit more in the process of being like updated. So like as you get to the there's like you walk for like a minute and there's a bit of a sense that these things are being like renovated, especially that first entryway tunnel, but like that gives way after a minute or so of walking to just like dirt and like stone. Like this place is like dug out like hardcore, and like as you make your way to like an open area that's big enough to house what is probably going to be like that could house about 100 people. It's very much kind of like the background that Chris that you're using right now, just like all like some bricks, like kind of like lit like a domed top. You can tell like there's very few lights down here. There's very few like places to sit, but where there would be a place to sit, it's behind like an ornate desk. And as you sit down there, like a chair kind of like swivels around, and there waiting for you is the prince, but he's unattended. There's nobody there with him. Prince Davide sits here. Well, I did not expect the results so soon. I feel it has only been a few hours since I've seen you all, no?
It's been a productive few hours.
I see you have something there with you, Mr. Phillips, Senor Phillips.
So I put her down, a little rough. I don't like drop her, but I'm not like, being gentle or anything. And I take off my hat. Your lordship. And he looks over at Rebecca and Eleanor. We found 2 new fledglings tonight. This one being the second and the most volatile.
Interesting. You found 2 of them in a single night. I am quite impressed.
And my lord, it would be a fair assumption to guess that they belong to the Gangrel family.
The Gangrel family?
Most likely.
They are your kin,
Ability-wise.
Mr. Phillips.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. This one tonight, and he like looks down at the woman at his feet. Yes, maybe, but young Darius that we found earlier, I'm not 100% sure. He moved really fast, faster than I've seen most of my clan move.
Interesting indeed. We have somewhat of a mystery on our hands. It only thickens. Nevertheless, he approaches the young woman. This one is she is of the blood. You said a fledgling, correct? That you found this evening? A volatile nature. What do you mean?
She was in a hunger frenzy, and she was eating. Maybe you. Oh, okay. Please explain. And I look at the others.
When we found her, she was quite in a state. She desecrated a body pretty awful. We got rid of it though, so it should be attributed to an animal attack or something. But it took a bit of Rebecca and Jace to calm her down.
Well, she kind of like looks like he puts his hand.
In addition, we also found other.
Oh yeah, he puts his hand on her head, and he's like, "You poor thing." Oh wow, thanks for the raid. It's Jenna. Appreciate the raid. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
Welcome to the show. He puts his hand on young Hortensia's head. He says, "You, oh creature of the night. I assume you know nothing of what is happening to you." And she starts like spouting in Spanish. He responds in Spanish. They kind of go back and forth for a minute or two. And he just kind of looks back up to you and he's like, "So why bring? You say that you found two this evening. Where is the other one?"
That's right. The other one,
If I may, my
he's
lord?
safely at my bar right now. He doesn't seem to know much, but there's someone who knows of him. So I think we need some more answers out of this one.
And
In other
you
words-
feel the need to bring this young naked woman here, but you do not bring this other one. And why is that?
My lord, if I may.
Speak.
The other person is safely in the speakeasy for you to call for him, and we may have an issue with someone else knowing of his existence in the city, someone who broke the traditions through windsealing them. Kim. He tried to keep him safe in an apartment. We found him, but the other guy, he's easy to talk to and may have potential.
Potential indeed, but he was not. But no one had asked or given permission to embrace anybody and bring them into my city.
And this is why the one who embraced him should face all of your anger.
This is not the time. The city of Houston is in a very, very delicate situation. The city grows by leaps and bounds every single year. The last thing we need is more of these creatures running through the night, endangering
This
our
is
very way of
why-
life.
This is why, my lord, we're going to resolve the issue immediately.
You're going to, well, I see that my faith was not misplaced then. He goes over to something he goes over to a part on the wall where it looks like there's like an old like weapons, like almost like a shield with like two swords in it, and he goes and unsheathes one of the swords, and he throws it onto the ground in front of all four of you, the three of you and Hortensia, and he was like, "Deal with this creature now."
Your
Jace,
Grace, if I may suggest,
Well,
may I?
well,
I would like to propose that we keep her alive for a bit longer in order to find the rest of the problems running around in the city. She may be useful, give us a clue maybe. We have already questioned her, but still, a few information may be needed in the future. And after that, after we have everything, you can decide on the punishment, my lord.
I fail to see the usefulness in a creature who will give in to the beast so easily. I was hoping that this coterie would be of a higher constitution for such things. He looks over at you, Jace. Says, "Senor Phillips, I trust they do not have the same yellow bellies over in Dallas."
he picks up the sword and holds it at Hortensia's neck. At your command, my prince.
Or I could take over. I look at him. I kind of worry about him. He doesn't seem easy, so I'm just trying to relieve him.
He looks over at you. He's like, "You had your chance, Miss Asteri."
Please, my lord, allow me to correct my mistake.
"I believe Mr. Phillips has this under control." Well, he like looks at you, almost like with an annoyed face, Jace.
I look at Helen, but I take the sword and I bring it up and bring it down across her neck.
The head falls.
I'm going to give myself a stain. I have an 8 humanity, so that, like, killing humans, I mean, I'm a vegan, like, killing humans is just totally, and even though she's not a human anymore, I'm going to take a stain on that.
The prince approaches you, Jace, and pulls out a handkerchief. It's very fancy, very it's like very fancy. He like gives it to you. Clean the blade of this filth's blood.
I take the handkerchief, like, with a nod, wipe down the blade as much as possible before presenting the sword back to him.
He takes it back. He's like, there may be a place for you in this city after all, Mr. Phillips. Now, as for the matter of this other one that you have found this evening, you say that he could be useful. He was not found gnawing on bodies.
No, sir, and I think he has a particularly useful skill set as a midnight runner of sorts that would be useful in your court. And he's like kind of stuttering a little bit, trying to find the composure to hold himself properly now and make this argument. But yes, we all believe Darius could be useful, and I hope you see how dedicated I am to keeping the city safe from outside prying eyes.
I believe that this one you were able to talk to and talk some sense into and not have to bring here gagged and bound. Then I am at least willing to hear them out.
Very generous of you, my lord.
The other thing is, we don't know how many more fledglings might be out there. And, well, we feel we don't have the right to execute them or pronounce judgment on them out in the field. Is this the kind of order of practice of order you'd like?
He goes to open his mouth to respond, and then when he does so, he turns and looks at Eleanor. And he says, "You've been awfully quiet, Miss Taylor."
Sir, don't mind me.
Oh, you have been a trusted companion and a trusted ally for the past few years. I consider you very trustworthy. But do you think you would be able? You've served me very well. Can I trust you to carry out these kinds of judgments in the field?
My lord, you've never asked anything like this of me, but and like she's like, you know, she can't cry, but she's like on the verge of it.
He looks over. Sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, she's just trying to find the words.
He goes over and he kind of like puts his hand on your face, and he was like, I would never question your loyalty, but when it comes to the matter of enacting my will out in this city, it seems as though I have to look to outsiders, unfortunately. Mr. Phillips, Miss Astery, if you find, at the very least, Mr. Phillips has proven that he is willing to do what it takes to keep everything under wraps here in city and making sure that we are all and our secrets are all safe. I give my faith. I give my complete faith in you to deal with the others as you see fit. I would ask though that you bring this Darius to me.
First thing tomorrow night, then.
I look forward to meeting this young one. If his skills are as you say, then perhaps he can find a use and a home here in Houston.
So Eleanor like kind of composes herself a little bit. Sir, if I may, there's something I asked you about many years ago. If I can do this, if I can enact your will, as you say, to this level, do you think you can maybe think again, and revisit my wish?
He goes and like approaches you again. Miss Taylor, what you ask of me is no easy gift, and some might call it a curse. But seeing as how you have proven yourself loyal to the cause so far, speak to me again when this unpleasant business is over, and you just might see your wish granted. After all, it looks as though a spot has just opened up, and there's like kind of a sick grin on his face at that. That just is I even felt bad just saying that.
As you wish, sir.
Well then, dawn is upon us. It would be wise for you all to find a place to take shelter until the next night.
Please rest assured that we're going to resolve any issues tomorrow night.
I look forward to it. You know the way out. You can see yourselves out.
It was a pleasure seeing you, my lord.
He kind of like gives
Rebecca
you like a
blows the
nod because at the very least he appreciates your. He's loving that you're playing the part for sure, Rebecca. It is now maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours until dawn. So it is getting to the point where everybody is going to everyone's going to need to go into their final events for the first night. Because while this may be our third session, it's still very much the first night of the Chronicle still. So we're gonna do this one by one. So first of all, the coterie has kind of left the courthouse and has gone in their separate ways at this point. The camera first falls following on Rebecca. So let's go see what Rebecca is up to. Rebecca, what do you do after you leave the courthouse?
Rebecca is going to walk towards a place where she can usually meet Ethel, her supplier.
Okay. There is like a main hospital that is open pretty much all night. Rebecca is gonna run somewhat of a under the books clinic. And she knows, and she has gotten to know you. And incidentally, she's gotten to know Eleanor as well, but that's a story for another time. So the place that you're going to be needing to go to is going to be a little bit more towards like on Prairie Avenue, kind of leading out of the city, more towards where they're building the new university. Oh, sorry. I think it froze up for a second. Sorry.
I'm being extra careful. Maybe I could roll some awareness, alertness check.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. Let's have you roll with just wits and awareness as you're making your way downtown, walking fast, face plus, and you're homebound.
One success.
One success. There's not really anything that strikes you as out of the ordinary, and because it is so late at night, so early in the morning, you're starting to see less and less people on the streets, so there's really not that much to look out for. It's more so you've stopped seeing people who are going home from a long night, and more so people who are getting up extra early. But you make your way
I'm trying to find.
Sorry, go ahead. You're trying to find
Ethel.
Yeah, so you make your way to this little clinic on the edge of the town. Ethel is a little bit of a, I'm hesitant to say middle-aged. She's gonna be more so in her maybe like mid to late 30s. And it is the 20s, so she's not a doctor, so to speak, but she is all the training and all the know-how to fulfill that role pretty easily. And she is quite known in certain circles in the city, so she knows to keep her clinic open this early or late, depending on how you look at it.
I'm going to do a rouse check in order to appear human.
Go for it.
And my hunger stays the same.
Hunger stays the same. All right, so you're starting to appear more human.
I technically look.
So you get a little bit more color in your skin, so to speak.
Yes, plus of health. I can look like I breathe and blink and all that.
Yeah, so as you breathe it in and make your way into this clinic, you're starting to see that it's pretty barren, pretty Spartan. More so, it looks less like a clinic and more like a triage. So it's just beds kind of sprawled across a big room. Not very comfortable. It looks like they've just got the bare minimum of what could be considered a mattress, on very thin sheets. And there are a few patients here, but they are easily just passed out at this time. And as you enter in, you see Ethel kind of at her desk, with her head on her hand, kind of drifting in and out of consciousness. Just looks like she's been awake for some time.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome in. Oh, Rebecca. Oh, how are you doing this fine
evening?
Yeah, I guess it's, good morning, good night. I guess you got callers at all times of the day. I get it mixed up. Do you want some coffee or anything? I just made a pot.
I would prefer my usual order, if you don't mind. I do have some experiments to run.
I guess you're gonna have to tell me something about these experiments one of these days, sugar.
Well, you know how it is, academia. I'm not going to reveal anything until I prove my hypothesis.
I hear ya. You probably need to have. I'll probably have to read about it in one of them there science magazines that get published every now and then.
Sure.
Believe me,
at
sister.
At some point in time,
like.
everything. Excuse me?
Oh, believe me, sister. I know what it's like to have to be a woman of science, so to speak.
Well, one day, everything is going to be in the right place, and opportunities are going to be given to women like you and me. Or at least we can hope and pray.
She kind of chuckles to herself. She kind of chuckles to herself, and she's like, "I didn't realize I was already dreaming. I guess this coffee isn't as good as I thought it was."
Could you spare a few packages for me?
Oh, sure, absolutely. And she goes and She has to like walk away from the desk. When she walks away, she kind of leaves her files kind of open and like sprawled across the desk.
I'm going to take a peek.
Yeah, you've been there enough to where she kind of trusts you with these kind of thing. Let me have you roll with the wits and awareness, just while you're looking everything over.
2 successes.
Sorry, 2?
Yes.
Okay, so she has like, you're looking over everything. The first person is just it's got like something written on it, like, overcoming the Spanish flu or something, kind of question mark next to it. But then like the other patient that's there right now, they said that they were admitted to the clinic because the hospital turned them away. It appears that there was the hospital was the reason he said that he was turned away from the hospital was because they just had a bunch of people come in from an attack on McKinney Avenue from the night before. And so like there is about 4 where like the hospital is kind of not always at capacity, but there's always someone dealing with something here in Houston, especially as the city's growing. You notice that the last 4 beds that they had available were taken by people, and so he had to be rushed out to this clinic for treatment.
Can I see his name?
Yeah. What's a good 1920s? What's a good 1920s man's name? 1920 men's names. Clay. That's a good one. That is a very good one. His name is Clay Johnson. Clay Johnson.
So Rebecca will definitely write this down.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that's just like kind of napping. He's like just over there, like not napping, or just kind of like fading in and out of consciousness. You can tell that she's treating him with which is like the bare minimum of stuff just to kind of keep him alive. You can definitely tell he needs to have treatment at a hospital to overcome like the bruises and like the injuries he sustained.
Is he unconscious, or he could possibly speak to me?
I mean, like, he's asleep now, but like he's not like, in life-threatening danger. He's just like asleep for the night because it's like what, 3 or 4 in the morning at this point.
I'm going to approach him.
Okay.
So I gently like touch his shoulder in order to wake him up.
And the guy's like, "Geez, woman, your bedside manner's got a lot to be desired." Oh, I'm sorry. Hello.
Relax, darling. Just a question, and then you can go back to sleep.
He kind of like looks at you and kind of a trance. All right, sure, sounds good to me.
You were witnessing an attack, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I witnessed and part of it, as a matter of fact. That's why I got all these nasty cuts and tore up. This dude went crazy on the streets.
Who attacked you?
Some weird fella. Some really weird fella. I don't know, like, I couldn't really get a good look on him. He was wearing this weird, like, he was wearing, your typical attire.
Can you give me a clue
hat.
about him?
Sorry?
Please describe him for me.
Yeah, he got this weird hat, and he was wearing all sorts of just black from head to toe, and didn't get a good look at his face. Dude kept looking down.
But he looked Mexican, maybe?
Yeah.
Spanish?
You know what?
Hispanic?
I think so. He might have been a Mexican. Probably. I don't know. I've never seen anybody fight like that. There was 5 of us and just one of him, and good Lord.
And what happens?
I think he, my partner just shined, just got back from a long cattle drive, and he, just took his earnings and bought himself a new pair of boots, a new pair of pants. The man was looking like $100. I think old feller accidentally scoffed on his boots, and my friends and I, my friend didn't take too kindly to that. We're not going to leave him high and dry. Not our finest moment, I'll admit, but next thing I know, thing escalated from a few words being thrown at each other to fists and what looked like knives. But I didn't see him draw anything, but people were definitely cut up from it.
Don't worry. What happened to your friends? Are they okay? Are they in the hospital recovering?
As far as I know, everyone should be fine in the hospital, but I had to be taken over here. Apparently, they was at capacity when we was all gone over there.
Anything else strange that you would like to mention about the attack?
Let me see here. Nothing really strange. I mean, what could be more strange than just one dude fighting off 5 of us?
Everything is going to be all right. Just go back to sleep. And as I say that, I look straight into his eyes and use Dominate 1, and I whisper, "Forget."
And he just kind of and he just kind of knocks back out again really quickly.
So he's not going to remember that I went there. He has no memory for the last 5 minutes, approximately. Okay. And I go back to the desk.
It's at that point, when you get back, maybe 30 seconds to a minute later, Ethel comes back with a case. And she's like, "About how many were you eating today, darling?"
I would say 3 to 4. The experiment is getting out of control.
Oh, at this rate, you're going to be cleaning me out, sugar. But all right, I know you're good for it. It's fine. It's fine. I assume our usual rate then.
I'm going to pay handsomely, as always, Ethel.
Well, that's why I like you, Miss Rebecca. You always take, us women of science got to stick together.
And privacy is really admired kind of situations.
Well, as far as I can tell, you're paying more. You're paying as much, if not as more than a lot of my patients do. So I believe that entitles you to a bit of doctor-patient confidentiality.
Exactly. And this is why I appreciate your services so much, my dear. May I?
Oh, absolutely. Here you go. She hands over 4.
Thank you.
Take care now, and
I pay extra.
Oh, well, yeah, Laura, a few extra dollars. I definitely appreciate it.
I just shush her a bit, smile, and go.
Awesome. With that, the Rebecca leaves the clinic, and let's bring everyone else back into this. All right.
Can I go first? Well, I think I'm probably driving the car back to the Midnight Rose with Ellie Mae in the back seat again.
Does that sound good? You're muted, Ray.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So as we're driving, he'll just be like, kind of look in the rearview mirror if there is one. How you holding up, Miss May?
I was about to ask you the exact same thing. I mean, I get a sense that wasn't I mean, I know you're gangrel and all, but that didn't seem to be like you.
With everything that's been going on tonight, there's only so many times you can disobey a prince's word, and, well, David seems to be a bit more temperamental than some of the other princes of Texas I've worked for.
Well, he's the only prince I've known, but you probably have a spot on. The only reason why I've been in business this long and managed to have such lucrative a lucrative of establishment is by just abiding by his word. But my goodness, tonight was something different.
And I'm not looking forward to what tomorrow night has to bring. We'll be sending Darius on into a scorpion's nest, essentially.
Yeah, you're correct. We haven't had new fledglings and since I've been here, so this is uncharted territory.
Right. Well, I wanted to ask, as we're pulling up, I can't imagine it takes long to get there, like 5-10 minutes. It's
No
still
traffic.
a really small city, all
Right.
things considered.
2 streets.
I wanted to ask, would Cisco be all right staying here for the day? Is there anywhere I can let him free to graze a little bit?
Actually, just a little bit out back, we do have a little plot of grass there. He could probably graze around in there.
Well, that would be perfect for us. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Are you gonna be okay? Do you need a place to stay?
Yeah. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. I'm just gonna get a little bite to eat before heading off to bed. But he turns the engine off as he pulls it into like the warehouse, in front of the warehouse. But yeah, thank you, ma'am, for everything tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Hold my hand out for the keys.
Oh, yeah, these belong to someone else, don't they?
Yeah, at least we're getting back in one piece. I hope you don't notice that little spot of blood back there.
I think it's a bit more than a little, but oh well. So I'll turn to leave and I'll go to Cisco, who is this large brown American quarter horse who's been tied up all night. I feel really bad about that. So I'll take off no, I'm not gonna take the bridle off completely. I want people to know that he's owned by someone at least so that he can like move around and he's not tied up to things, and take him out to where the grass is.
Mm-hmm.
And lead him there and be like, look at him and like kind of point at the ground like, here, stay here. And then and then real quick, I will go and find some food, which is just a quick feeding check for me as a farmer. I can roll composure plus animal ken to sort of montage me hunting for food.
Okay.
Well, I wish I had more composure. 4 dice. Ooh, 3 successes.
Yeah. This is like as the city grows at like quite an impressive rate. It's still pretty much like it is kind of like a smaller town. And so at first you're sitting there like you're probably gonna have to eat rat or something again. But like right as like you've given up all hope, you start to notice like, the Midnight Rose is kind of towards the edge of the town, like edge of the city, kind of like a warehouse district. That area has kind of been famous for having every now and then wild boar coming through. And
shit!
Like luck would have it, you happen to find a couple that have just grazed a little too close to the city.
I just need one, and so like I sit kind of on the edge of the field where they're at, and like make some like snorting noises to try and draw one over, like out of curiosity. And as soon as it comes, I just like hop onto its back and sink my fangs into its neck. So yeah, I'm gonna drop that down. I don't know if I can get rid of my hunger fully by killing an animal. I don't think it's animal blood's not that great, but that will bring me down to 1 hunger. So, I grab I look in my back pocket for my handkerchief, and I realize, oh shit, it was still in Hortensia's mouth, which is. But I instead I pull out the fancy frilly handkerchief that Prince Davide gave me, and I like feel weird using this like silk lace handkerchief to wipe my mouth. And
With
I get back to
there's still the blood of Hortensia on it from when you cleaned it off the blade as well.
Oh God! So yeah, I'm gonna maybe stop at like a creek, and like try and rinse it real quick and like wipe my head and my hands, and then I get back to where Cisco is, and I pat him on the neck, and I said, "Well, good night, Cisco. But stay here. I'll see you tomorrow night. All right?" And then I go to the middle of the field where he's grazing. I make a rouse check. My hunger does not go up, and I take my hat off, put it on my chest, and sink straight down into the earth using Protean 3.
Oh, that's so cool. All right. Well then, I like it. I like it a lot. Eleanor, you were you weren't privy to the whole hunting and Bugs Bunny burrow scene, essentially. But let's take a look in on the end of your evening. So you you're going in through the front of the Midnight Rose?
Yes.
Okay. Right before you go to open the door opens. And Sebastian, that's the name, I believe, correct?
Wait, just a second. Just so you know, on Twitch, you did this side by side of you and Rebecca.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
No problem.
So yeah, let me retake
Helen wants
that.
to take a rest.
let me retake that. Take 2. So you're making your way to the front of the Midnight Rose, correct?
Yes.
All right. So as you're making your way to the front door, right before you go to open it, the door itself opens, and you see Sebastian having to essentially like throw out 2 people who have just stayed way too long, have gotten way too drunk, and they're like, "Come on, buddy, just one more is not gonna hurt anybody. Come on."
Clyde, every single night, you know what time we close.
Oh, come on, Miss Taylor. You know that you're the best place here in Houston to get a drink at. And he goes to wrap his arm around you, and you can just smell the pungent alcohol. It's just and sweat. It's just disgusting.
So I kind of wriggle away. And if you want to continue drinking here and for me to be open during these times, you need to be quiet and go home.
Yes, I guess we about that time. I'll get you next time, Sebastian. And he like tries to like hold it down a bit. You can tell he's just like about to pass out in the street.
Keep going.
The other guy's in no better state. Like he's not talking, but he's just like kind of fumbling around, and like he's already like made like maybe halfway through the parking lot. I'm doing quotes there. But like when you walk in, like all the only ones that are left in the Midnight Rose are Sebastian, the man whose car you borrowed. He's actually passed out in a booth though, so like he's like
Okay.
just waiting for waiting for his car to come back. And Darius has made his way, and he's just sitting on the first floor bar.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to take the keys and I'm going to slide them in that guy's pocket.
He's like just. He's not nearly as drunk. He handles his stuff a little bit better. The stink.
And Darius is on the first floor. Okay.
Yeah. You see that he has a drink of like what appears to be whiskey or some kind of dark liquor. But when you go to like approach it, Sebastian is just like, ma'am, he's been eyeballing that thing for the past like hour and a half. Hasn't taken a sip.
Wait, you said it looks like liquor?
Yeah, it looks like just like regular liquor. And Sebastian confirms, like, yeah, I decided, after the kind of night that he had, what he told me about, I figured he might want top shelf stuff, but he's just been staring at it the whole time.
I understand. Sebastian, dear, and she's gonna like get on her tippy toes and like give him a kiss on the cheek, and be like, can you see him out for me, please? And point to the guy who's sleeping, the one whose car I borrowed. I can't remember.
Yeah. Sebastian is like, yeah, no worries, I'll take care of it. And like he opens him up, and it's, very uneventful. Like he guys are kind of groggy. He kind of tips his hat at you, Eleanor. He's like, thanks for getting it back in one piece there. I'll catch you some other town this week.
Thank you very much, as always. See you next time.
Yeah. He comes out, like, he goes out and the car just drives away. But yeah, so now it's just leaving you, Sebastian, and Darius.
Like she kind of like relaxes just a little bit more into her own nature. Sebastian, baby, can you pour me something? It's been a night.
Absolutely. You just want what, your usual, or need anything extra?
The usual's fine.
All right, I'll take care of you. And he goes and like puts his hand over your head and like kind of rubs your hair a bit. And then like he goes to prepare your drink. He has to go to the second floor to get it though.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, the entire time, like while he's gone, Darius is like literally staring at this drink. He goes to pick it up, brings it to his lips, and then puts it back down after like he smells it. And like it's just like a repeat of that, like every couple of minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna walk behind the bar because I want to keep the bar between me and him. Wait, just so I can confirm, make sure I have it right. In his glass is blood, not
no.
Alcohol,
in
right?
his glass is actual whiskey.
Actual whiskey.
It's
okay,
just whiskey or some kind of dark liquor, like a brown liquor, not anything red.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go and kind of lean on the bar a little bit. Doesn't smell too nice, does it?
No, ma'am. Sure done. I used to be able to pound this stuff back, but now every time I go to sniff it, I can't bring myself to drink it.
See, the trick is you need to mix it with a lot of blood, actually, or take it straight from the source of a drinking patron, but don't do it here. But in the future.
Yes, ma'am. I'll have to take your word for it.
So, what's been happening since I've been gone?
And the usual stuff you see at a speakeasy. People, like, drinking a little bit too much. That fella up there had to break up a couple fights every now and then, but people seem to be a little bit more well behaved here. I gotta say, ma'am, I'm quite impressed with the little operation you got running here. Not very often you see a speakeasy run by colored folk to have so many different people coming through here, different types of people. I'm not impressed.
I'm sorry you couldn't make it before.
Well, I was. You know how it is. It's not very often that I'm invited to these kinds of things as a customer.
Yes, I know. Now listen, um, kind of in a bind here when it comes to you. It comes to this city. When it comes to the order that we have here, um, is there anything you can tell me about the man who was hiding you in that apartment?
The man that was hiding me in the apartment. Yeah. Yeah. Short fella. He was really crazy. He seemed very keen to make sure that I stay put and talked about wanting to he talked about meeting some new friends that just came into town over the past few days. He said that he had to go meet somebody else that night.
Now, think carefully. How did he smell to you?
How'd he smell? I mean, it's forgive me for being rude, man, but most men smell a bit pungent here and down in the South. It's summertime. People work hard. It's kind of hard to. I mean, dudes kind of stink.
So, not enticing in any way?
Not enticing. I mean, ma'am, I don't know what you heard, but I'm not. I know I'm not like that.
Sorry, I think you misunderstand. Uh, you're not feeling hungry at all?
When I was around him, no, I didn't feel the need to eat anything.
And you said for these past few hours, days, you haven't been hungry?
Mm-mm. I'm just more so confused than anything. Just being up at night felt like my sleep schedule was off just because of everything that happened.
Peculiar. Hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to remember how much we told him about being a vampire. How much, right?
Not a whole lot.
Ooh, okay. Well, Darius, this is new territory for me, but you're going to want to eat soon. And by eat, I mean you're going to want to have something to drink, and not that.
Well, that what I had earlier this evening with the rest of y'all seems to have tied me over.
And you're not hungry for anything else.
No, ma'am. I mean, not that I'm aware of.
All right. Well, tomorrow, I mean, I know I said you can trust me, but to an extent, and I'm looking out for you as best as I can. But tomorrow, I'm going to need you to go somewhere with me. Is that all right?
Well, like I said, I mean, if I'm just being honest, and he kind of like looks around and he's like, everyone I've met so far, this whole ordeal, I think I trust you the most. I mean, that man kept me in that room. I always seem to trust people. I was always taught, from a young age. I was always told to be mindful about, being a black man or amongst white folk. But that man in the apartment and you, I seem to trust people who aren't white a little bit more.
I understand, and I'm sure it wasn't easy being here with Sebastian, but he's if anything, he's probably looking out for you more than I am, to be honest. But like I said, I'm going to need you to come with me, and I need you to do your best to present yourself at your best. You been to church before?
Oh yes, what man hasn't?
Sunday best, okay? Because if we can get this done in the best way possible, you can have a place here. And maybe I could even have you on here if that's something you're interested in. But if you be honest, be open, be helpful, and show your worth, then maybe you can come out of this on top.
Well, I got to be honest. I don't have my Sunday's best. It's not something you pack for whenever you go on a run. But if you, I reckon I'm closer in size to your friend over there. He points to Sebastian, who's now coming down the stairs with like a whole bag of what you've asked for. He's like, that other man, he just seemed to just all be smaller clothes, and the white clothes I was wearing, if it wasn't white, all the other things he had to wear was just pitch black. It's probably not the best to make a first impression in.
Well, I reckon we have something for you, but if you don't mind, I myself are quite hungry. I need to.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I won't keep you. I'll something strange. I just feel like I'm about to just fall over all of a sudden.
Well, it is getting late. Speaking of, we probably need to get you some accommodations. If you just give me a moment, let me eat, and I will get you settled in for the day.
Sounds good. So yeah, you do what you do. What you need to do. So Darius is made comfortable enough for the night, or for the day, so to speak. Where do you sleep?
I think I said we had an apartment above.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But I'm going to keep him in the back warehouse.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming I have windows painted over and such so nobody can look in and see.
Oh, for sure.
It's a speakeasy. Yeah.
You're fine. Yeah, Darius is going to be safe there until tomorrow night. All right. And the night ends. Night 1 ends of Blood on the Bayou. Way to go. Now, day 1, you guys got a lot done. Got a lot accomplished.
Yeah.
But
that's for sure.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Houston wasn't. And this vampire stream doesn't end in a day. As the sun rises, it surely sets in the opposite direction. Night 2 begins. Can I have everybody roll for hunger?
Okay. I haven't
Success,
done that
not hungry.
a long time. What do I roll for hunger?
One die?
You just one die.
Just one?
And if it's a success,
Rouse
then
check.
if it's a success, then it goes. Then it's fine. If it's a failure, your hunger goes up.
My hunger does increase, but I bought an extra blood bag yesterday anyway.
Okay.
So I'm going to drink that.
There you go.
6 is success, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
6 is a success,
Okay,
so you
yes.
don't get hungrier.
Just barely.
Just made it.
I double checked the reading for Earth Meld, and it says items carried stay on top of the ground.
Oh god.
So my hat's just sitting there in the fields.
I hope no one steals it.
Cisco wouldn't let them.
Yeah, like Cisco's right around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if anybody came even close to it. I mean, this is like a free like range area. There's a horse out there. People would know not to bother it. If anyone did come around,
he'd bite them if they got
Sebastian
too
just
close.
Yeah, so how does it look when Jace reemerges from the ground?
He probably also gets up first because of his high humanity score. And so like maybe like an hour after sundown, there's a slight little rumble in the ground as he like pops up, grabbing the hat in his hands and kind of like taking that same position. He dusts off the bottom of the hat, and then, whatever dirt is on his stuff. He might actually go into the saddlebags and change out his green button up for like a blue one, and then like rolls up the green one and puts it in his 2 shirts.
Okay. It's only 2 shirts. I love
He doesn't need more than that.
He can stop by the bar if he wants laundry service.
And then he'll hop on Cisco and do a quick little run, and then head back to the bar,
where we see Eleanor. How does Eleanor rise in the night?
Sorry, I'm just trying to think. In the 20s, would there have been 4 poster beds with curtains?
Probably. I think more so back then than now.
Okay. So she does sleep in the bed with Sebastian with curtains around.
Okay.
And every time she wakes up, it's like not that she just slowly wakes up, she just shoots up. And it's something he still isn't used to.
I don't think I'm ever going to get used to that.
And like she doesn't like fully, she's not fully awake. She's like looking around like, night already.
It is. Big night tonight, huh?
Oh gosh. And everything just comes like flooding back to her. Can I just go back to bed?
Well, I mean, it sounds like you got something big important going on with the prince today. I wouldn't recommend you be late for it.
I'm so sorry for leaving you at the bar by yourself for another night, but we gotta take care of this. And if I'm ever gonna gain full favor with the prince,
you do. You know, I can handle it here. You can. You do what you need to.
All right. Well, also, I'm expecting a delivery from. Where would you get your hair products made? Wherever that place is. I'm expecting a delivery today, so you might get a parcel. There might be a parcel at the door already, actually.
I'll be sure to take care of it, ma'am. You gonna get out of here. We gotta start opening up soon. I gotta go start prepping everything.
All right. And so she's gonna go to their bathroom and start getting dressed, however vampires do it.
And then we see, how does Rebecca Astery start the night?
Well, Rebecca lives in a very small, closed space. She's literally sleeping on a mattress. She doesn't care about luxuries. She would rather spend her resources on looking okay in order to be able to enter society, and mostly books. So she would like quickly try to put something on and look more like a living person. She would do a quick makeup and put on the same jewelry as she always uses. And drink, of course, blood from the bags I bought yesterday.
Yeah,
and
you got
then
that extra bag, so good to go for your hunger.
Just in case. So I'm going to start walking towards the Midnight Rose.
All right. Maybe, Rose, you might have an hour before everyone is like fully there and like ready to go. Between, I think if anything, Jace is gonna be there quickest because he's sleeping in the ground right outside, and that ride that he takes Cisco on probably couldn't last. I think you're probably getting back from your ride around the same time that Rebecca's gonna be showing up.
Okay.
Probably took him for extra long ride since you know that they're gonna be sleeping for a bit longer.
Then I'm gonna try to get Darius situated upstairs.
Okay.
Because I'm sure we'll probably have some type of conversation with him. So I'm just gonna take him upstairs before patrons start coming in.
Yeah. As you're getting him situated and everything, you see Sebastian come down with like a really nice looking suit. Okay. Like very fancy. And like he kind of hands it over, and Darius is like, "Oh man, I don't think I've ever been in clothes nearly this nice in my entire life."
Sorry, I almost said say less. Say no more. Just get dressed. I'll leave you here so you have some privacy. But you know, like I said, make yourself as presentable as possible today.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's at this point
I'm gonna head downstairs.
Yeah, it's at this exact point when you see Jace enter the bar, Rebecca not very far behind.
Oh, my brain went to Japanese. Good evening, Jace. I trust you slept well wherever you slept.
Evening, yeah, I did. That field worked out for pretty well for the both of us.
Are you hungry? Sebastian made sure to have something for you this time.
I'm all right, thank you, ma'am.
All right, we'll just save the thing.
Mm-hmm. We've got a long night ahead of us. So I'm sure I can work up an appetite by the end of it.
Yes.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Miss Rebecca.
Everything all right? Was your day safe?
So far, so good. I mean, he's upstairs getting dressed right now. Can I get you anything to drink?
Thank you, I'm fine. Appreciate it though.
All right. Well, as you can see, no one's here yet, so make yourselves at home.
I would like to use this few minutes to brief you in to some information I found yesterday night.
Huh.
I went to see a friend of mine, and it seems like there was an attack. One more attack. And a few guys were sent to the hospital by, guess what? A tall, old man, full black, wearing a hat, Hispanic origins. Sounds familiar?
Uh-huh.
Sounds like our guy.
So apparently there has been an attack in Milking Avenue. And
McKinney.
this guy
Sorry.
tried to pick up a fight against 5 people.
McKinney, that was one of our locations that the prince suggested we check out.
So this man was fighting 5 humans?
Yes, and the person described it as if he was stabbing them, but with no knife. We can assume he was using claws. May I suggest we focus our research on finding that man instead of his victims?
I think so, because the longer he's out there, the more he's probably going to create.
But how do we figure out where his next stop is? Who his next victim is going to be?
So far, he's attacked the church. Just outside of, where's the first place again?
I was over on Clark Street, or was that where?
That's close to Clark Street. Close to Clark Street. So it's gonna put the church right where my little circle is. So we're gonna put the church right there. Hold on, let me.
Okay.
Mrs. Taylor, do you happen to know any Nosferatu in this city?
I would, right?
Say it
How
again.
many
Sorry.
are in this? Nosferatu. I would know which ones are in the city, but how many?
Oh my gosh.
I would assume maybe just one.
I would know more than a handful.
Yeah, there's barely 20 of us in the city.
Yeah, so maybe like 2. I'll say 2. Let's say 2.
Okay. Yes, there's 2 in the city, but they don't come here.
Nosferatu are traditionally known for having information and knowing how to find things other people cannot. Could offer a boon to a Nosferatu to help us out if you could introduce me to one.
Can I roll like
Politics?
Yeah. Can I roll like a politics to see if I know where they are?
Go ahead and roll intelligence and politics.
Okay. Sweet, more dice.
Well, that's not a half bad idea, though. I can't stand the sight of them, but the Nosferatu really do know what's going on in every city.
2 successes.
3?
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you would know that the Nosferatu are kind of on the southern side of town. Like, heading more towards there's on the map, there's a big condensed area of the courthouse, the P.O. box, Union Depot, McKinney Avenue where there was the attack. They're going to be heading more towards Main Street, down more towards heading towards Victoria. Kind of okay. Out of the city. Yeah. That area that you just pinged on the map, which is going to be quite a ways away. By car it would take no time, but that avenue to you is not available at this current time.
Is that going towards 45. Anyways, never mind. Yes. They're a little ways away. They tend to stay on the south side of Houston, a little bit towards Maine and Victoria. We're probably going to need to procure a car to get down there.
Would you be able to do it the same way you did yesterday?
Let's see. It's Friday night. He usually does come in on Fridays. Hopefully he comes on time when we open. Which should be, another 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Minutes?
Half an hour or so.
So about half an hour or so. He should be here. The man has had hefty tabs, so we're going to get that car.
It's probably the first time that Jace has laughed since you've met him.
Oh, gosh. Oh, poor Jace.
Look at Jace a little bit like, oh.
I do have a sense of humor, ma'am. Just, I seldom get the chance to enjoy it.
Well.
It's at this point, have no experience, not very much experience dealing with these types of clothes. Darius now makes his way down the stairs, and he's walking very awkwardly, almost as he's like, the shoes are a little tight. I'm not sure I'm wearing them correctly. I'd be more comfortable in a pair of boots.
You need it completes the look. Just ignore it.
And he's like, all right, well, how do I what do you all think? And he kind of does a quick little thing.
In the 20s, were they wearing 3-piece suits?
I think, yeah. I think you vest.
Or would it be a zoot suit?
Ooh, you know what? Let's call it a zoot suit. Sebastian has a zoot suit.
Not purple, please.
No. Come on. It's a black suit. It's a black suit. Yeah. So you.
Oh snap!
I can't draw the church on the map, so. I have my dinky little circle at the top of it. Anyways, yeah. So he's just he's like, well, you said that there's a meeting we have with the prince. Is that something we should get a move on for?
Yeah. If you can just give us a moment, we need to get a car, and unless you have transportation in the city somewhere.
No, ma'am. I mean, I barely had the clothes on my back, and these clothes aren't even ones on my back.
All right, if you can just give us maybe 20 more minutes, we probably have a vehicle.
Sounds good to me.
You look good, buddy. I think Prince Davide will appreciate the effort you put in.
I feel much more comfortable in some denim, in a shirt kind of like that. And he kind of points to the shirt you're looking at, or that you're wearing, I should say.
I'm right there with you. But David, he's got and most princes, most princes you'll meet, they got a very specific way of doing things. And if you're a traveling type like I am, you got to make sure that you know what each prince likes, what the etiquette is in each city, and you got to fucking visit them and introduce yourself when you first show up. It's one of those Camarilla pillars that Rebecca was telling you about last night.
All right, so, I mean, he's an actual prince, like your highness. Is that what we say, or?
My liege works as well.
My lord.
Mm-hmm. Your excellency. Your grace. That's a good one. They really like it when you say your grace.
All right. You know what? I'll stick with that one then. Your grace. We'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes passes and.
Don't forget to bow your head.
True. 20 minutes passes and that man that was in there yesterday, he's nowhere to be seen.
Shit. How are we gonna get there? I mean, I could take one person on my horse.
That's not gonna.
I mean, they have carriages. You can probably carriages and cabs.
I mean, maybe will they take us though? Will they take me and Darius?
You can always check.
I guess we can try carriage or cab. I mean, you two are guaranteed a cab, and maybe we'll just have to meet y'all there.
Darius, you know how to ride a horse?
Yes, sir. I do.
All right, Cisco will get you there safely.
You're gonna let him ride Cisco?
Yes, Cisco's an independent horse. He can do what he wants, or he can do what I want and help carry
He's
them.
very independent.
He can do some stuff independently, but as long as introduce the two of you, he'll or the three of you actually, he'll carry the pair of you on his back, and if Rebecca and I are in a carriage not far ahead, then you can simply follow the way. I'm pretty sure I saw some hitching posts by the courthouse, so he should be good.
I definitely appreciate.
I think I have apples. Will he eat those?
Yeah, he likes to eat, but between you and me, he mostly eats my blood these nights.
Oh.
That's wild.
This is news to Eleanor.
Yeah.
I didn't know we could
horse.
do that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's an old clan trick.
Well, permissions do stand, though, Mrs. Taylor. So be mindful of the traditions.
Wait, sorry, say what one more time.
The traditions?
Traditions do stand, though. Else, you also have to get permission. So try not to do it without it.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. So how does that work city to city?
But I think it's less critical when it's an animal. I mean, most princes and nobility of the ivory tower, they look on human as kind cattle. So animals are worse than that, like dirt beneath their feet.
I understand.
I don't think if you were to ghoul a cat or something, I'd be surprised if Prince Davide had a problem with that. Although,
that's not to test the waters, huh?
Let's keep it quiet.
So you're gonna try to hail a cab? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, Rebecca, can you get a cab while I get these two situated on the horse? Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Rebecca tries to hail a cab while I get the two of them situated on Cisco.
Perfect. All right.
So yeah, I'll bring the two of you out back, and at this point, Cisco's not even like Cisco looks as if he's hitched, but it's only just for appearance's sake. He can easily like pull the bridle off of the hitching post if he wanted. He's trained to do that. And most vampires, with regular animals, most vampires have issues even approaching them. Animals can sense instantly that they're not human, that they're undead. But Cisco's got a little bit. He's got his hooves in both parts of the worlds. And so like he's a little bit anxious as the two of you are coming up, and I'm like, whoa, buddy, whoa. I need you to do me a favor here. So this is going to be, I don't have Animalism 2.
I think I think my favorite NPC to roleplay is Cisco. mean, he's not a true NPC, but I'm really enjoying these horse noises.
Nice. Okay, so without the use of feral whispers, which as soon as I get enough experience points, I'm gonna get animalism too, so I can actually talk to Cisco. This is gonna be a charisma plus animal ken roll, difficulty 2. I need at least 2 successes.
All right. Let's see what we got.
I've got 1 hunger, charisma, animal ken, and I'm gonna make a rouse check, boost my charisma. That's a fail, so I do gain a hunger after this.
What's your current hunger?
It was at 1, so after this roll, it'll be up to 2.
Boo.
3 successes, perfect.
Okay, yeah. So you're making no problem.
Yeah, so I'm like, he likes, especially Ellie Mae, give him the apple. Now, yeah, there you go.
It tickles.
Yeah, and Darius, like, after like the initial like breaking in like period, he looks quite comfortable on Cisco as far as like being able to handle him and ride and tell him when to stop, and knows all the usual like more just like how to he knows how to ride a horse for sure.
Right. I mean, and Cisco's supernatural, so like it's eerie the way that this horse responds. If anything, Darius would probably feel like this ain't no normal horse.
Yeah, I like it. No ordinary horse. So yeah, you, Darius, kind of like, all right, I appreciate it, partner, and I guess I'll make my way towards the courthouse. Is that where it was?
Yep.
All right, I'll wait for you over there then. And he kind of like takes off in that direction.
And I head back to the street where Rebecca's hailed a cab, maybe?
Yeah, a cab is now like pulling up. Like,
should I put on Blush of Life?
Yes, please.
Rebecca, should I? I should look more better than this, huh? Hunger goes up.
Yes!
The lag.
Mine doesn't though.
Oh, great. But at least we won't be attracting no suspicion. Damn, I should have taken Miss Taylor up on that offer of breakfast.
Maybe
3
later.
hunger. The day just started. Oh, I love it. I'm going into the meeting with the prince hungry. It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a cab pulls over. It's like more of like a carriage. And sees the 3 of you, and he's like, kind of like, the 2. Oh, you're not gonna go with them?
I'm on the horse.
Oh, you're on the horse with them. Okay, with them.
Yes.
Sorry.
That was the whole problem. We can't.
Yeah,
we can't be seen
take
traveling
the cab.
together.
Okay. Yeah. So then it's no problem. You guys are able to make it. Take the cab towards the courthouse.
And I like offer my arm to Rebecca, and I'm like awkward as hell, but takes me back to my not debutante days, because he wasn't a debutante, but he had to do the whole schooling type thing that debutantes and their grooms usually go through.
Like the proper manager, like school and stuff like that.
I forget what the name of that kind of training is.
Southern
etiquette school,
yeah, something like that.
Brainwashing.
Yes.
Indeed, yes. The cab picks you up, no problems. You all make your way towards the courthouse. You meet Eleanor and the cab, the carriage, because it's like a horse-drawn carriage, gets you there relatively the same time as Eleanor and Darius. And you make your way into the courthouse. And this is where we're going to end our session for tonight.
All right.
So, dear viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. This is a fantastic session. I'm really, really excited to see where it goes from here. We have 2 more sessions in this game.
Holy.
And so we will be we will be returning for them next week and the week after. So make sure that you tune in for the penultimate and final episodes of this campaign. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes. Again, my name is Mark. I am the storyteller. I'm going to give it back to everybody real quick to go over everything. And let's go ahead and start with Ray.
I'm Ray. Had a great time playing tonight. Sad that there's only 2 more sessions because I really, really, really love being a vampire. But check us out on Manapot Studios for our Starfinder stream this Sunday, Japan time at Mark.
At 10 a.m. Japan time.
Yeah.
And 7 p.m. 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in America.
Yes, thank you.
And next would be Chris.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Chris, Crifu Bernal. I'm on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram and all that at Crifu Bernal, CHRIFU BERNAL. Super fun today playing as this old cowboy vampire. But I also play roleplay in other streams here at Manapot. I'm in 2 other Starfinder streams. We got a lot of Starfinder here.
Love it.
So on next Monday, you can find me in All That Glitters Explodes at 7 p.m. GMT. It's British time. And on Friday, instead of my usual Saturday, you can find me over at my channel where I'll be doing my solo stream of the Pathfinder Adventure Path Skull and Shackles.
And last but certainly not least, we have Rebecca. Oh, sorry, Helen.
Well, I'm Helen. I have played Rebecca, the tremor that tries to impress the prince and obviously fails. For tonight, this is my one and only stream, so please join us again next Tuesday to continue the story.
You should follow Helen on Instagram because she's got some awesome LARPing photos.
Yes.
Indeed. Well, everybody, thank you so much for this. This has been fantastic, and we will see you again next week. Make sure to stay tuned for the raid. We are going to be finding some good other content to send you to, so stay tuned for that, and we will see you all next week.
Matane.
Thank you.